Let's get into week 11. So a lot of football happened, and we'll just start at the top. I mean, Michigan that we've been talking about, they beat Penn State. Huge win for them there on Big Noon kickoff. And it ultimately results in Penn State firing their offense coordinator, Mike Yurcich, who was seen as a pretty decent hire at the time. But yeah, Michigan wins this game 24-15. Their only pass attempt in the second half was a pass interference, so it didn't actually count as a pass attempt. So they just run the ball. And Penn State's defense wasn't bad in this game, but Michigan was able to more effectively play offense. Kind of a defense slugfest, grind it out, Big Ten, everything. But Michigan did assert their will more than Penn State was able to, and they come away with a fairly resounding 9-point win, if that makes sense.
Michigan blew out Penn State on Saturday.
Kind of they did.
The fact that they only won by 9 is kind of criminal. Okay. That's enough about Michigan. We're going to put Michigan on the shelf. We're going to talk about Penn State here for a little bit.
Oh, boy.
That was some of the worst offensive play calling that I have seen. How do you come off of a week where you can, like, Penn State's offense was explosive last week.
Yeah.
Last week. They put up 51 against Maryland last week. Maryland's a decent football team. How do you turtle that quickly? Like what is it about top 10 teams that makes James Franklin want to just crawl into a turtle shell? I don't get it. That was some of the most conservative play calling, like really from both teams. But Michigan just got out there and saw Penn State has no chance of scoring on us as long as we don't throw a pick six or get like the fumble six that almost happened to Ohio State a couple of weeks back. Like their defense is their best chance of scoring points. They can't score on us. And true, no lies were detected there. Like that was absolutely correct. It was awful. Okay, first off, going for 2 that early on and not getting is like, ooh, that's not going to be a point that they're going to miss later on. Sure enough, they lose by 9. And then they went for 2. Okay. The you're kind of into analytics. I don't understand when you're down 9 going for 2 right away. I understand the premise of it is that then you know what you have to get. But the pressure that is applied to Michigan's offense, if it's a 1-score game, even if it's 8 points, you kick the PAT and then it's 8, right? The pressure that it then puts on the other team, the pressure all goes to them. Instead, it's you don't get it. You don't get the 2-point conversion. It's 9 point. The game's over. You have to score twice. There's no 9-point play. So
analytics, by the way, are fairly indifferent on those specific situations. Don't blame this on analytics. Analytics actually makes sense. This was more of just a whatever you want to do, man. The analytics are fairly indifferent on situations like that.
I agree with you there. There was a lot of people citing the analytics, ooh, the nerds are going to come out of the woodwork, all over you for this one. The difference is minimal. It really is. I don't know. I felt Penn State was absolutely they lose that game 10 times out of 10. They do not. That was a blowout.
Yeah.
The fact that it was only 9 points is neither here nor there.
And you can blame the play calling, and I agree with you. It was not good. Also, the execution of the poorly called plays was not good either.
Yeah, right.
Nicholas Singleton ran for 3.3 yards per carry, which is not good. Even that was somehow higher than Drew Allar's 3.2 yards per attempt, which is horrific. Drew Allar, by the way, he's not great right now. He's not a good quarterback. Hopefully, for Penn State's sake, a good offensive coordinator could fix that next year. He is not playing like his recruiting billing would suggest he should. He's not accurate is the main thing. He's just not an accurate quarterback.
No.
Seems to process what's happening slowly, which is weird because I can remember his very first game in college. He came in because there was an injury, and he looked comfortable.
Yeah,
and he hasn't looked that comfortable since, I don't think.
Well, okay, I think there's a difference between when he plays Maryland,
right,
versus when he plays Michigan. You're absolutely right that when he plays Michigan and Ohio State, like the guy psychs himself out. He really does. He's seeing ghosts back there to the point he cannot complete a 5-yard out route. Like simple routes he cannot complete. So yeah, it falls apart for him. You feel a little bit bad because Penn State's going to get judged on what they do against Michigan and Ohio State. And so for a lot of people, it's going to be the only time that they watched Penn State all year. They watched 2 games and they saw them, look awful in both of them. Yet Penn State's not a top 15 team, but they might be top 20. Like for me, I'd put them in there. They have a really good defense. That defense deserves better, by the way.
Yeah, it's good.
That defense is legitimately really good. And they played well against Michigan and Ohio State, 2 good offenses. So yeah, the defense on the list of guys that deserve better, along with Jaden Daniels, maybe
Penn State is Notre Dame.
Deserves better.
They're the same team, I think.
Yeah, like they have more talent. Like they would have a little bit more talent and a better defense. Their offense is light years behind you guys, though.
Neither offense is good at this point in the season.
Come on.
Both defenses are really good.
Yeah.
Both offensive lines are not as good as you would expect.
Yeah.
The strength of both offenses is the running back room. The quarterbacks should be really good, but they're kind of not. And the receivers are not great. Like it's basically the same team.
I like y'all's receivers. I like y'all's receivers much more than theirs. Like so much more than theirs. And your quarterback for sure more than theirs. Yeah, we don't need to bang on Penn State too much. That was embarrassing though. Like that is the most frustrating thing to watch. Like I can say Georgia went through phases of that in the early Kirby Smart years where the offense was just abysmal. It wasn't good. And the defense was exceptional. But yeah, Michigan's good. They continue to do their thing. They don't throw a pass in the second half.
Right.
For whatever reason.
We're a half hour into this pod and we've talked about one game. Let's roll here.
All right.
Yale beats Princeton 36-28 in double overtime. I know that's what everyone wanted to hear about. Texas Tech upsets Kansas 16-13. Jason Bean got injured in this game, so Kansas is down to their number 3 quarterback, which is not what you want. Maryland beats Nebraska 13-10. Ugly game there in the Big Ten. Let's see. Moving on. Harvard beat Penn. I know the Ivy League is what people are here for.
Why?
Arizona beats Colorado 34-31.
Yeah.
Tighter than we thought. We both had Arizona in our locks. They do pull the win out, and Colorado's now 4-6. But yeah, tough game there for Arizona. They do get the win. Kansas State beats Baylor 59-25. Wow, there's a lot of games that no one cares about on Friday. Oh, Saturday. Sorry. Here's one. Florida State beats Miami 27-20. Not quite as close as the score would indicate. This was a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter. Miami scored last. Any thoughts on this game, Ashton?
Okay. Did you see the safety where Miami clearly tackled Jordan Travis in the end zone?
I did not see that. No.
Whatever reason, they called him down at the 1, and then they reviewed it and upheld the play. And it was like, okay. I've never seen that. It was one of the worst, the most egregious calls that I've seen in a while. Anyway, Florida State continues to do just enough. They were the better team. They were better than Miami. Are they good? They're good. Yeah, they're good. Are they like playoff? Are they top 4? I don't think Florida State's one of the 4 best teams in the country right now.
They're going to lose a playoff game by 3 touchdowns, it feels like.
If Florida State played Michigan, yes, I agree. Or Georgia, I absolutely agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Oh, UCF beats Oklahoma State 45-3. We thought that line was a little suspicious, and sure enough, the line, Vegas knew something there. UCF crushes Oklahoma State, which shakes up the Big 12, which is, we won't know who's in the Big 12 title game until the regular season is over, I'm pretty sure. Mizzou beats Tennessee 36-7. Super impressive win.
Yes.
Mizzou's special, man. Like, they're not the best team in the Big Ten. They're not the best team in the Big Ten East. Sorry, SEC East. But they are a top 4 team in the SEC this year.
I mean, they cemented themselves as number 2 in the East. We talk about that every preseason. Like, who's going to be behind Georgia? Who's number 2? This year it's Missouri, and they deserve to be. That was a bloodbath. I watched a lot of that game. They were clearly better than Tennessee. Tennessee has some real issues, and we'll talk about them later. But credit to Missouri. They were excellent.
Both sides of the
Physical.
ball too.
They were. And there was some unfinished business from last year. I don't know if you caught that. Tennessee ran up the score on Mizzou a year
Oh yeah.
ago. In the pregame presser or postgame presser, Drinkwitz, he said that we're Tennessee state champs. We had unfinished business. And he chirped. Yeah, he left a lot out there. Let's just say this is a budding rivalry. This will be fun next year too.
Tennessee is a good test case in the difference a really smart, accurate quarterback can make.
Yeah.
Not that they're not good. They're still a good team, but Hendon Hooker
Yeah.
took them to a different level last year. So, yeah. Northwestern beat Wisconsin 24-10. That's funny.
Oh, hate that.
Wisconsin, I don't even really want to go there. Like we'll know more about Luke Fickell and his era there next year. Washington beats Utah 35-28. Big win for them. Obviously not like crazy impressive. Like they didn't beat down Utah the way Oregon did, but I still think it's a fairly good win for them. The second half, they didn't allow any points to Utah. So yeah, good job by Washington. Solid win there, I would say. Is there anything more to say than good, solid win? Washington, they're still undefeated. Put it that way.
They gave up a lot of points early to Utah and were trailing at halftime. And for them to come out and be as dominant as they were in the second half, that was very impressive. Mm-hmm. Utah's a good football team. Even I understand they don't have Cam Rising. Utah's a tough out, especially as an underdog. They live for that underdog status, and you were able to do what had to be done. You didn't do what Oregon did to them, so what? You beat them. Like, you're on to the next game. Washington has some difficult games coming up. This here was one to check off they got it done. They got it done. They're 10-0 now. They're another team that they're undefeated. I don't know if they're one of the four best teams. I know that's not really, we'll get into that later with playoff talk. I still don't know if they're one of the four best teams.
Yeah. A couple games that are just ugly and I refuse to talk about, but I'll read the score. Iowa beats Rutgers 22-0. Auburn beats Arkansas 48-10. Down through the evening, Oregon State beats Stanford 62-17. Impressive win there. Oregon State finding something again after a bit of a lull in the middle of the season. Georgia beats Ole Miss 52-17. This was technically a top 10 matchup that never felt like one. Ole Miss, by the way, scored in their first possession and then on their third possession to tie the game at 14. But Georgia, after that, they figured them out defensively, and their offense was just money from the start. So what were your thoughts about this as a resident Georgia fan with the beatdown here, 52-17?
The defense adjusts so well. They've done this the last 3 games. Now they've allowed opening drive touchdowns in the last 4 games, really. Even Vanderbilt did it against our defense, but have really tightened things down afterwards. The offense is clicking, man. Brock Bowers is back. I'm feeling good. I'll be really honest.
How many quarterbacks in the country are better than Carson Beck right now?
Not as many as you'd think. Not as many as you'd think. That guy is underrated. He does not get the love that he deserves. I hope he comes back, because he could have a legit Heisman run next year. He's that good. He's been very accurate with the ball. He's the guy that Tennessee needs to run their offense, right? Someone accurate over the middle. Doesn't have to have the biggest arm. Carson Beck has a great arm. That's not the point. He's not Joe Milton's arm, but he's accurate. He's on time. He has great chemistry with the receivers. Yeah, again, the timing. I kind of keep going back to that. He throws guys open a lot, and I don't think that he gets maybe the credit that he deserves. Georgia's finding their own here quietly. They've had a really tough stretch here, and they're starting to mash people. So if they beat Tennessee by a lot this weekend, I'm calling for it all this year. I think they get everybody. But we'll see. Definitely a step in the right direction.
Right now, I just checked FanDuel. Michigan is favored to win the national championship at plus 220. Georgia's at plus 250. And then all the way down at number 3 is Alabama at plus 750.
Yep.
So Vegas thinks Michigan and Georgia have separated themselves. I'm with you. I think I might be ready to say it right now. I think Georgia has separated themselves even above Michigan. I think Georgia is the best team in the country yet again for the 3rd year in a row.
I'm not going to disagree. Yeah, I mean, I can't say that. Like, I can't just come out and say it. Yeah, I
That's
do
why
want
you
to see
have
if they
me. I'll
can.
just come out and say
Correct, correct. I do want to see them go on the road to Knoxville and have a big win. By the way, Georgia has clinched the East. They will play Alabama in the SEC championship. That's going to be an epic game. The styles in that are going to be, it's going to be electric. That's going to be elite atmosphere there. A game that Georgia needs and Alabama has to have. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Georgia is coming into their own there now. They're 10-0. They have Kirby Smart has now had the longest undefeated run that he, even in his time at Alabama. This is his longest run. So this run right here for Georgia the last 2 years is longer than any run Saban had at Alabama, undefeated run. I thought that was interesting. So he broke that record. Yeah, there's so much talent right on this Georgia offense. The offensive line got healthy too. They got a 5-star offensive tackle back, made a big difference running the ball. So yeah, it looked really good.
Yep. Oklahoma beats West Virginia 59-20. Ohio State beats Michigan State, 38-3. Big blowouts there by favorites. Let's see. A&M beats Mississippi State 51-10, another blowout. And then we already talked about Jimbo Fisher and all of the fallout from that. But let's see. Moving on down. LSU beat Florida 52-35. Jaden Daniels kind of putting on a show here, over 600 yards of offense by himself. Yeah, Florida's not very good. LSU's offense is electric, even though their defense is still not what it should be. They don't really have a whole lot to play for anymore as a team, but any chance he could maybe get his nose in there in the Heisman race?
I think they're going to try. I really do. I think they're going to push him for that. Like you said, they don't have anything else to play for. I think they go for it. I really think they have some gettable candidates the next 2 weeks. One, a Jimbo Fisherless A&M, whose defense is a little sketchy in the back end, and LSU has great receivers. So yeah, I think they're going to push. I think they're going to push for it. We'll see. He is really, really good. The SEC quarterbacks, we kind of belittled them a little bit, and maybe rightly so at the beginning of the season. They had a lot of big guys leave, and we didn't know what this younger batch was going to be. Between Jaden Daniels, Carson Beck, Jalen Milroe kind of coming into his own. Brady Cook is even having a nice season. There's some decent quarterbacks, and a lot of them are going to be coming back. So yeah, there's Jaden Daniels is excellent. I don't know if I wonder what he kind of projects as an NFL player. I don't really know how he projects in the draft. That guy can fly. I don't know if you saw his highlights against Florida. Like, he just took off and left people. It was very impressive. A week after getting planted in the Alabama game, comes out and shows out against Florida.
Yes, he does. All right, Texas escapes TCU 29-26. This game was like 26-6 at one point, and I went on to other games. There was so much else going on. I was like, well, there's no point in wasting any more time looking at this. But TCU almost comes back, makes it only loses by a field goal here. Texas, they remain with the one loss only on their resume, and they do have the win against Alabama.
Yeah.
Is this a disappointment to you, or do you focus more on the fact they were winning by 20? Like, what do you do with this result?
Texas hasn't looked good in a while now. It's been a few weeks before they've looked really good. TCU is not a very good football team. They're 4-6 this year. We were expecting more. Like, that's okay to say. Some of it, Quinn Ewers just kind of coming back. This was his first game back, getting rhythm again. I understand that. But they had a good first half. They really jumped on him in the first half and then kind of fell apart in the second. So Texas's best game, Texas's A+ game, is as good as anybody's. I really believe that. Texas can play, like, for 60 minutes of glory. Texas can go out there and beat anybody. But their floor is pretty low for a playoff team. It is pretty low.
Yep. North Carolina beats Duke 47-45 in double overtime. That was just a fun rivalry game.
It was. That was a great game. Did you check this one out much? Or no?
I did. I watched a decent amount. North Carolina on their 2-point conversion in second overtime, there was a guy that was clearly 5 or 6 yards down the field, an offensive lineman that didn't get called. So that was fun. The Duke fans won't forget about that. But yeah, it was just a fun game for sure.
It was really good.
Arizona State beats UCLA 17-7. UCLA spiraling a bit as we go on, and they have a big game this week to maybe make up for that.
Right.
Oregon beats USC 36-27. I would say it felt relatively comfortable, but not maybe not as dominant as a lot of people expected. What are your takeaways from this game?
Survive in advance. Like, it's okay to survive in advance. But we said it a little bit with Texas. We said it with Florida State. They seem to do this almost every week. We're talking about teams that aren't Georgia. They're not Michigan. They're just trying to get by. And if you can get to the end of the year with one loss in a conference championship, maybe they let you in. USC was in a kind of a dangerous spot here. Like, USC gets to play spoiler kind of the second half of this year. So yeah, I don't know. Oregon had a big lead, and kind of the same thing as Texas. They had a big lead and it kind of got away from them. Oregon's gotten a lot of love the last couple of weeks, for maybe being better than Washington. Like, we think that they'd beat them at a neutral site. We think maybe Oregon's the best team in the Pac-12. And okay, I understand that. But the fact of the matter is they lost. Like they've had some of these, they almost lost to Texas Tech early in the year. We kind of forget about that a little bit. Oregon has played some close games here too. They're not immune to it. They have to play Oregon State here in 2 weeks. I'm just saying, like,
yep.
Oregon's not done playing tough games here. They've got some difficult games yet.
That's right.